Hot start. Hot start.
Has James Gunn done it again? Clayface. My life gets complicated. Boyfriends. I don't know that song, Mac. Penguino Menudo duo. The gang does Doomsday. More like beyond the release date. Am I right? Early Maphonic reviews. We're talking white asses back across 8 miles and so much more. But first, news dump.
Really butchered
I see
that, Goo.
you shaking and saying a lot over there. What's happening?
Well, first of all, we're taking your white asses back across 8 Mile, to reference the line in the 8 Mile diss track,
What did I say?
aka you said talking, aka
Right, because that's what we're doing. We're
we're going
talking.
to the
This is a
trailer
podcast.
park, another way to talk about the trailer park there. Yeah, you
Mhm.
like that one, yeah. And then you never saw the show Brace Face back
I
in the
did.
day?
I have no idea what the theme song is.
Clayface. My life gets complicated. Boyfriends.
So I'm going to tell you right now what I did at the end with "We're talking your white ass." That's funnier because this is a
Sure isn't.
podcast and we talk. I
No,
took it
because we're
upon myself
no,
to do
because
that.
we're going to the trailer park. So we're taking y'all's white asses back across 8 Mile.
We're talking your white asses across 8 Mile.
Go fuck yourself.
I like what I just did actually.
Sure.
But Mac, like we just said in those headlines, big news on the day. Finally, we have been waiting for this for a long time. It's been teased, it's been talked about. We've seen news about this movie for a while, but the trailer for Superman has finally dropped.
Yeah, and at some point, they dropped the legacy from the name, and Gunn was talking about how the significance of that was because legacy seems like it's looking back,
Old,
and
yeah.
he wants us to look forward. So I
Mhm.
appreciate that.
It's like the old adventures of New Christine.
It's exactly like
Yeah.
that. The first thing I noticed from the trailer, Goo, is the awesome kicked up version of the John Williams theme from the original movies, where it's like the same theme, but it's a little more electric, a little more
Like they got
metal.
Slash for it.
Yeah, yeah. They don't show us much. This is more of a teaser than it is anything. We
Yeah.
don't get any real plot in this, but we get quick cut scenes for Crypto, the dog, which
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to feel about Crypto, but I feel like James Gunn has treated CGI animals well before, so we might as well give him the benefit of the doubt here. We see a little Hawk Girl, little Green Lantern. I forget which Green Lantern this is supposed to be.
It's the
Uh,
Fillion one, though.
yeah, Nathan Fillion's playing
Yeah.
him. Metamorpho, who I believe is going to be the main villain of this movie, Mr. Terrific, and then we also see Lex Luthor. Nicholas Hoult looks great as Lex Luthor. David Cornsweet looks great as Superman, and I also like that in Clark Kent form, he's got different hair, so it's
Mhm.
not just the glasses; they change a little bit more. I can't pretend I'm like over the moon about this, Q, but I'm definitely looking forward to this movie.
I can tell you as a non-Soups fan, I'm kind of jazzed about this.
Oh yeah,
I'm a little jazzed. I
all right.
first off love James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get any of the dialogue in this trailer, so I'm not sure if it's going to have that classic Gunn quippy dialogue. That doesn't really fit Soups, but Gunn has talked about his love for this character and really wanting to bring it more back to how it was with Reeves. So I think it's going to sound and look a lot like that.
So
You
to that
also
point.
did get a little bit of that Snyder-ish Man of Steel, how people don't always love Superman here. And maybe is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
weighing on him? How did he end up in that snow? How much of a role does Crypto play in this story?
So to those 2 points there. First, in regards to the general public not loving Superman, I guess, and I like that directors are doing this these
Mhm.
days. Gunn released a number of Superman comics in which this film is influenced by, and one of them on there is called Superman Birthright, and I
Mhm.
guess it's in that comic that there's a whole storyline about how the general public's kind of 50-50 on Superman. It's not like the Reeves movies where they all loved him, and so I think that's going to play a big part in this movie. And to the point about the humor and the Gunn type stuff, Gunn said there's still plenty of humor in it, but we're trying to create something that is grounded, but it's also an incredibly fanciful world. And he also said that this movie is going to start like in the middle of the action. So he's
Yeah.
been Superman for a little bit. He already exists. Lois and Clark already know each other. Lex hates Superman's guts from the beginning, although they don't know each other personally. So I'm assuming in this movie, Metamorpho is the main villain. In this movie, plants the seeds or builds upon when Lex Luthor really becomes the main villain in the next movie or in an overarching series of movies.
So I think I read this recently, or you can tell me that I'm a fucking idiot. Did Gunn talk about not liking origin stories and how we never need to see another Batman origin story, Spider-Man origin story, and he might have hinted towards Superman as well?
I don't know if he said that, but I think he definitely mentioned talking about how these characters, specifically Superman and Batman, how we've gotten so many origin stories,
Yeah.
especially Batman, over the last 20, 30, 40 years, that the general public now knows the origin story. So it's not necessary to tell those. You can just drop bits and pieces in along the way in a story like this, but we don't need an hour and a half, 45 minutes. We don't need an origin story taking up a good chunk of a movie. Again, it's just not necessary.
News dump. Mac, I could not be more excited.
Brace
During our
face!
Penguin episode just a couple weeks ago, we've won several awards for it. People love the fact that we talked about Batman many of times. But I mentioned in there that the villain in the Batman universe that I want to see the most, either on film or in a television show, is Clayface. And I acknowledged at the time, it's a stretch. I'm not sure if they'd be able to do it or if they would do it. But the news has come out that we are getting a Clayface movie. And it has recently been said it'll be much like The Fly.
So a couple things here, Goo. Unfortunately, this is coming out on 9/11 in 2026. So that's
Oof.
25-year anniversary. I don't know if that's the way to celebrate. It's going to be described. It is being described as a horror tragedy. So I guess a lot like The Fly, but also the character will not be painted as a villain. So I don't think it really is going to fulfill what you necessarily wanted out of the character. But I guess just getting the character is probably enough for you. And the director attached to this is Mike Flanagan,
Mhm.
who we know from some horror stuff over the last few years. And he is notably a big fan of the Clayface episodes from Batman the Animated
Right.
Series.
So
So I think it's in good hands.
if you tell stories like those, he doesn't need to be painted as a villain. It's a tragic story of, constantly trying to change your look and keep yourself looking fresh to the point of you eventually look like a monster. It's a lot like in The Substance. So you can have it still not be villainy, but by the end of it, he's going to do some villainous things to try and keep himself looking nice.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because when are we supposed to be getting the Brave and the Bold?
I don't
Before or
know.
after this?
Right, but is this a part of the Brave and the Bold-averse, or is this a part of the Reeves-averse?
Yeah, I don't think it's in the Reeves universe. I think it's in Gunn's universe.
Right. Either way, I want Clayface. So,
Fair enough.
news dump. Speaking of Matt Reeves, it has been revealed that the Penguin season 2 is now a possibility.
Yeah, I don't. Again, we talked about this in our award-winning Penguin breakdown.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we need or want or it's necessary to have a season 2 of the Penguin.
No.
I think what took place in that show has set this character up and other characters from that show
Yeah.
to play a part and pop up in other shows and
That's the whole
movies.
thing is
But I don't need a season 2.
I don't want a full show about him, but
Yeah,
I want him to still be in this universe playing around.
I
I just
agree.
don't want him to be the focus anymore.
Yeah, we've done enough at this point, and
You have enough characters to use other ones.
this is the natural thing when something is super successful. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, we got to do a sequel. You don't
No.
always have to. You don't.
News up. Got a trailer for Harley Quinn season 5. This will be on Max on January 16th. Hopefully, Fryer will remind me the season is out this time.
I don't think I saw season 4. I'm a little
Is
behind.
that because
It's
Fryer didn't tell you either?
yeah, he never told me about season 4.
Fryer watched all of season 4 and didn't mention it to me once.
I like this show. I don't love
I
it
love this
nearly
show.
as much as you and Fryer
I
do,
love
but
it.
it's a good show for sure.
I think it is funny. I think they do a good job when they dive into some more serious stories as well. And I can't wait for season 5. I'm curious of how many seasons they're going to keep on going. I also haven't seen the Kite Man spinoff yet, but I heard from
Oh,
Fryer
that's
that's
right.
not as
That's right.
good.
Speaking of animated DC stuff, have you dove into Creature Commandos yet?
I have not. They're on episode 4.
I think 3 are out right now, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. First 2 were solid. I
Okay.
I honestly was expecting to like it a little bit more, but the first 2 were solid.
Let's pivot. News dump. Let's go on to Marvel, and we've gotten some news and some rumors and reports that Avengers Doomsday will be
Rumor has it.
getting some returns. One of them being Chris Evans. It has not been said who he'll be yet. Will he be Cap? Will he be an older Cap? Will he be Nomad? Will he be Captain Hydra? I don't know. I think Nomad, we kind of got that with Infinity War, the end of Civil War into Infinity War. But we are also getting Peggy back. So this also might be him going back in time and us catching up with him there. And maybe him going back in time fucks around with the timeline.
Yeah, I read that one of the theories here is we might see what he did when he went back in time and replaced everything, and that might play a part in Doomsday. Um, I don't love our Infinity Saga characters all getting brought
No.
back for Doomsday. However, this type of shit does happen in the comics. It's
Yeah.
just, because the Infinity Saga was so near perfect,
Perfect ending. Yeah.
we don't want people to go and touch it and kind of ruin what they did. And I fear that this may do that. But if it's done well, we won't second guess it and we'll be like, yeah, great call, Kevin Feige.
They're like, wow, Cap invented Google? He called it Lugal? That's a reference to Hot Tub Time Machine,
Yeah,
guys.
there you go.
Yeah, what if Cap just throws all of his morals out the window and just becomes a billionaire and investing
Invest
in
in Apple.
yeah, he invests in Apple. He's kind of like Forrest Gump, but he has prior knowledge of all this stuff. He brings back in time his sports almanac.
It'd be awesome if he went back in time and just competed in the Olympics for 100 years and just won all the gold.
News dump. We have learned that Beyond the Spider-Verse will not be released in 2025. You mentioned that very quickly in our Craven episode.
Mm,
But you know what I always say? Get it right, get it tight.
get it right, get it tight. So this movie is supposed to be released this year, 2024. Now it's not coming out until 2026. That has me a tad worried, Goo, because the last movie essentially was an alley-oop for what this movie was going to be. So why is there so
Yeah,
many?
you would have
Why are there so many
assumed
delays?
you would have assumed that the two movies were written as one and then
Yeah,
cut in half. I just got to get back to I think it's the animation, how complicated it is, and how they can't treat their animators like slaves anymore.
are you worried that the Sony live action universe crashing and burning the way it did is somehow tied to this?
No.
I
I
don't
do
really
think that
understand I don't think it's the animating though.
I do think it would have helped if they didn't focus on 3 live action movies this past year,
Mm,
but also I think it's the animation.
I don't agree. I'm worried. I'm worried.
News dip. When asked for his favorite film of 2024, Christopher Nolan, we know him, we love him. You ever hear of Oppenheimer? He said that Gladiator 2 was his best of the year, and he was also knighted this week.
That's Barry in the lead right there. He's
Oh,
now
was it?
Sir Christopher Nolan. Why is it that it seems like all of the best directors on the planet, when they are asked about their favorite movies of the year, always tell us like the most mid movie, a movie that no one really loved? I don't quite get it. And do you think that it's because these notable directors don't want to piss off the all-time greats like a Ridley Scott, or do you think that when they're watching movies
Mm-hmm.
they care less about plot and acting and more about the direction and the cinematography?
2 conspiracies here.
Mm-hmm.
One's not really a conspiracy, it's a question. I think he just, not even a question, just a point. I think he loves Ridley Scott. I think that's one of his favorite directors.
Okay.
The question that I have is, so I always go to Dune 2 as the best movie of the year.
It
Is
is.
Dune 2 a Warner Brothers movie?
I have no idea.
I think it is, and he has beef with Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but or do you think so? Some actually probably most directors are like this, territorial and or I don't know what the word is, but Denis Villeneuve is sort of what people are calling like the new Nolan. He's the one that everyone wants to be in his movies now. He's the one that can't mess up, and that was Nolan 10 years ago. So I wonder if he's getting a little territorial about like best director on the planet, because I think up until these last 3, 4, 5 years, you would have said Nolan and really not thought twice. And now to me, it's definitely Denis Villeneuve, as good as Nolan is, because Nolan has had a little bit of a down, but Villeneuve hasn't had it yet. So I think Villeneuve is like the number one player on the planet right now.
Okay, so Dune 2 is Warner Brothers, and although Christopher Nolan has said that it's water under the bridge, he has recently avoided Warner Brothers once again. I think it is a Warner Brothers thing, but he has said that if you see the police, Warner Brother.
One of Adele's greatest songs is "Water Under the Bridge," by the way.
Also,
Great
one of
tune.
our classmates' best shirts was if you see the police, Warner Brother.
The
Used to
huge
wear that to high school
WB.
at least once a week.
Yes. Yeah.
Newsed up. I was actually looking to buy some of those for Secret Santa a couple years ago, but they were
You gotta start a
wildly
new Etsy
expensive.
shop.
Yeah, they were wildly expensive. And not as good as I remember, because I remember on his shirt, it was Bugs Bunny and the Tasmanian Devil standing back to back. Like,
Yes. Yeah. In between the
yeah,
WB.
like Taz is saying, you gotta Warner Brother.
Is Taz saying it?
Who,
Is
you think it's
Taz the
Bugs?
brother?
I don't
Yeah, because
know.
Bugs, I guess, wouldn't be the brother in that. I
I'm
don't
not
want to
sure
get
if
too deep
either
into
would.
that. Was Bugs wearing a backwards bald cap?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thought so.
Mm-hmm. What are we on? What are we doing?
Goo.
Yes.
This week, 25 movies were added to the National Film Registry. And we see this every year, and no one really knows what the parameters are for this. So I'll tell you. Films that are added to the registry are seen to have cultural or historic importance and must be
Oh.
preserved for future generations. I like that. I think adding 25 a year, whatever they add a year, typically is too much. It should be like 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a handful. But amongst the 25 that got added, Goo, are some of our all-time favorites and some of the more notable films we grew up on. Beverly Hills Cop, Dirty Dancing, No Country for Old Men, The Social Network, which I maintain is the most underrated movie of the last 20 years. Spy Kids, Goo. Spy Kids made it in there. Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So those are some now what would you call them? Syndicated now?
So this is like the movie Hall of Fame?
Essentially, yeah, for lack of a better term.
Seems like a big haul, though. I don't like that.
Massive hall.
I
Massive.
prefer our style of the Mac and Goovy Vault, where it's one
Yeah.
movie a year. If you can't get in, you ain't getting in.
Agreed.
Although sometimes a horror movie would get in for a genre, or a genre movie would get in and they don't deserve to be in.
Yeah,
So
what are you gonna do?
the rules were hard and fast, I would say. News up. Wicked Part 2 has been retitled Wicked for Good. I would have called it Wicked Good for You.
And have Olivia
Quoting
Rodrigo sing all
Christian,
the
no,
songs.
I would have done Christian Bale. Remember that?
Um,
Oh, good for you.
Good for you. This is interesting. I mainly want to talk about this, Goo, because I had to go help my father move some furniture the other day. And he said, "Hey, I saw Wicked the other day. Loved it." I said, "Me
Oh!
too. Me too. Like father, like son."
Okay, you know what? You could have given me a guess as to which way he would have leaned, and I would have said maybe he didn't like it.
Yeah, he
Who
loved
do
it.
they see it with? Although he loves music, so
Yeah.
maybe that's
Big music guy. Saw it with his
Okay.
fiance.
okay. He loves music. Did he point out the singing as being the strong point of it?
He just had a grand old time, and we both agreed that the conclusion with Defying Gravity was epic.
I don't know how to ask this without indicting him.
Okay.
Was
All
there
right.
anything like substance to help him with the movie?
It's a great question. I didn't ask that either.
Was it like watching The Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd in the background?
All things are possible.
I was thinking, because I could see him telling you or me that of like, hey, you got to watch
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd, but you got to do this first.
Yeah. Take some of these.
Yeah. News dump. Jennifer Love Hewitt, or Jennifer Love Pfefferman, as I would call
Ooh.
her. She's back for I Know What
Yeah.
You Did Last Summer. Got a little teaser like that.
The Hewitt truck's back and it's better than ever. It's its 40th year. J Love's here. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Whatever number movie this is coming out in July next year. Jennifer Love Hewitt is in it, so I will be seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she's the main selling point of this, because as a slasher, it's okay, but it's more the cast. You're in on Freddie Prinze Jr., Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan
Mhm.
Phillippe, and
Brandy.
Brandy was the second one.
Yep.
But you can really, although two of those characters are dead, you can make them ghosts. Who gives a shit? Get everyone in there.
Uh, I do fear that this tries to do a Scream-like thing, and we get like 3 more of these over the next 5 years.
But don't get me wrong, this might be terrible. I would say percentage-wise, better percentage, it is bad.
I'd say there's like a 20% chance of this movie being good.
Ooh, so you're 80 bad?
Yeah.
Well, let's say 20 good, 60 bad, 20 middling.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. That's
Math.
fair.
Newsed up. Austin Butler will be the new Patrick Bateman in Lucas Guadagnino's American Psycho movie, and let's hope he doesn't go method for this one.
So that's Luca Guadagnino.
What did I
was,
say?
Was the
I'm pretty sure I
Lucas
said that.
Guadagnino or something. So this is gonna be a new adaptation of the book.
It's of the book. It's not a remake of the original movie.
Which is important to note. But also, no
No.
one is asking for this. And as good as Austin Butler has been these last couple of years, I don't think anyone is touching the performance of Patrick Bateman done by Christian
Yeah.
Bale. I don't. So this is like sort of a fruitless endeavor in my mind. Like this could be as good as possible, and people are going to still be like, "Yeah, did we really need it?" And the answer is no, we didn't.
We are assuming that as opposed to holding up a Huey Lewis in the News CD, he's going to say, "Have you heard of Elvis?" And then he's going to start singing.
Let's waste our time and effort elsewhere instead of another American Psycho movie.
Newsed up. Mufonix is in theater this weekend. Let's get to Sonic 3 first. The reviews, 86% on Roddy T's after 57 reviews, a 61 on Metacritic. The first one is 64, 69 for the second one. Sonic 4 is in the works. This is projected to win the weekend by about $15 to $20 million over Mufasa, the Lion King. The reviews on that, 59% after 100 reviews, a 57 on Metacritic. The live-action Lion King movie that this is a sequel and a prequel to. I think that's what's really throwing everyone off.
Yep.
51, 55. I have read many reviews of this being a soulless movie.
So let's start with Sonic. This is huge for Sonic. This franchise seems to get better and better. In my mind, the first one was overrated. The second one was really good, I felt like.
Yeah.
And that only got 69% and a 47 on Metacritic, almost the exact same scores as the first one. This one is blowing those first two out of the water review-wise. So it will be interesting to see how the audience sees it, but the critics are liking it a lot more. Of course, they had the Knuckles series in between the second and third movie as well. So it seems like they're really cultivating a pretty good Sonic universe here. And it's really rare to start out, in my mind, on that sort of low note and still be able to build up to something like this. So I'm kind of looking forward to Sonic 3 now. Mufasa, if it has the almost exact same scores as the first one, despite the fact that they've had 4 or 5 additional years to really, make the Lions look a little better, and we have Lin-Manuel Miranda doing music, and it's still not getting rave reviews.
The Lions looked fine in the first one. It's just that they couldn't convey emotion. That's what the issue was, is that they have lifeless eyes or they have lion eyes. Lions are not good at expressing their emotions.
That's their whole thing. Everyone always knows that.
That's why they've got so many teeth, because they're so ornery.
So I wasn't really looking forward to
wrong
Mufasa.
With this boy's medulla oblongata.
I wasn't really looking forward to this, and now I'm just like,
no toothbrush.
I don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters, but Sonic 3 I will see in theaters because this sounds pretty good.
Here's a rule, though, is that if you see Mufasa, I have to see it, and if I see it, you have to see it.
Okay, so just don't see it.
I'm probably not going to see it.
All right, there you go. Problem solved.
But I'm a fucking hypocrite. I told you, if any of these dumb live-action movies have an original story, I'll be happy.
Yeah, right.
But why are they splitting the baby in half with a half prequel, half sequel? Pick one or the other.
Because they didn't have enough for either or, so they just combined the two.
But you got Beyonce's daughter.
Is Blue Ivy in this?
Yeah, she plays Simba and Nala's daughter.
How about that?
But she's only being told a story by Rafiki. And then Pumbaa's like, can't you just tell a story that we're in too?
Classic
And
nepotism.
then Billy Eichner says, yeah, we're interesting.
That's the best part of the first one is
Easily.
Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa.
Which is crazy because the voice acting on the first one with, what's his name? I'm blanking right now. He's an amazing voice caster. Nathan Lane.
Oh, you're talking about the animated version.
Yes, the animated one. Nathan Lane on the original Lion King as Timon is awesome too. Billy Eichner, I wouldn't say even funnier, but he's up to the level.
I think Billy Eichner is like the most underrated funny man in Hollywood. He is fucking hysterical. Billy on the Street is funny, funnier than most things. Billy on the Street is hysterical. Billy Eichner is hysterical. I'm all in on Billy Eichner doing more and more voiceover or voice work and acting. Billy Eichner is very funny.
I still think the funniest thing maybe in internet history is when the lady told him that Denzel was on Broadway and he flipped out. News up. Got another little 30-second teaser for Lilo and Stitch. This is going to make all the money.
I'm all in. I'm all in on this movie. Now, I don't love these live action remakes, but for some reason it just feels right with Lilo and Stitch. It feels necessary for this property, and the Stitch we've gotten so far in a 10-second and a 20-second clip looks amazing. So I am really looking forward to Lilo and Stitch.
Also, for having seen the animated movie, I don't really know what it's about. I have forgotten most of it, so I'm a fresh mind. I've been wiped. I've been Men in Blacked.
You're of a mind that makes a moogie.
Never rub another man's rhubarb. Newsed up. Got a trailer for 28 years later. This is the zombie 28 minutes later sequel with
28 weeks, 28 months,
Jodie Comer, Cillian Murphy, Ralph Fiennes,
and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
The second most watched horror movie trailer of all time. Number 1 was It Chapter 2.
Yeah, which is fucking bizarre.
No, that makes sense. People were hyped about the first one. They wanted the sequel because the sequel was baked into the first
Everything you got. Goo.
Yes.
28 Days Later is an incredible movie. You can't find it anywhere. It's like not streaming anywhere. The sequel, 28 Weeks Later, I don't remember one thing about. I'm sure I liked it. I'm sure I enjoyed it. I don't remember a fucking thing.
Did it come out 28 weeks after the first one?
No, it sure didn't.
Oh.
It came out maybe 4 years after, 3 years after.
Is that 4 years? How many weeks is he?
Are you all right over there? 28 years later is only coming out like 22 years later. But I am very much looking forward to this. I think this has potential of being a fantastic movie.
Top of your head, who is the greatest number 28 of all time?
I wanted to say Fred Taylor right away because I couldn't think of another 28.
Fred Taylor's amazing. Is Fred Taylor 28? Fred Taylor's 28?
He was 28 on the Jaguars anyways.
I would say Curtis Martin, top of my head.
Curtis Martin, very good.
I like Fred Taylor way better, though.
In their primes, I would say Fred Taylor greater than Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin obviously had a great career, though.
Curtis Martin, he could not bust out those long runs, though. He would always just...
Curtis Martin, to me, was like a poor man's Emmitt Smith, right? No wow factor. Really good.
Adrian Peterson.
Oh, Adrian Peterson. Yeah.
Cristiano.
He's on the Mount Rushmore of running backs in my mind. Adrian Peterson. Who's your Mount Rushmore?
Cristiano Ronaldo. Why can I fucking not say his name?
Excuse me.
Cristiano Ronaldo, number 28. He's soccer though.
No, he wears 7. I think.
I'm looking at the number 28s right now.
7. Yeah.
I didn't click through it, did I? That's just a random thing on Ranker.
Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, Adrian Peterson, and name whatever fourth you want to put in there.
Why is there? No, they have Ronaldo at number 1. Peterson's number 2. Marshall Faulk.
I could put him number 4 also.
I love Marshall. Maybe the best running backs of all time were number 28. Are we sleeping on the number 28? Buster Posey, 28? Darryl Green.
New Giants GM, Buster Posey.
Nolan Arenado. Curtis Martin.
You see he nixed a trade to the Astros?
I did see that. Move. Darren Woodson.
Darren Woodson was very good.
Chris Johnson. CJ2K.
I thought he wore 26.
No one burned hotter than CJ2K.
Yep. And I'll tell you, that was one of the most frustrating years of Madden. Those fucking dipshits online using Vince Young and Chris Johnson. Really, really not fun.
Steve Duchesne, Fred Taylor, Vita Blue.
At least Fred Taylor got the mention.
Brian Rafalski. I think we're starting to dip a little bit here.
All right, so Fred Taylor's the third best
Warwick
number
Dunn.
28 running back of all time.
Warwick Dunn
I'd take
was
Taylor over
great.
Dunn. Warwick Dunn was cool.
He could juke out you, I'd tell you that much. Kenny Lofton. When did he wear number 28? He's wearing number 7 in this photo. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
Corey
Chris
Dillon,
Howard.
clock killing Corey Dillon. David Justice.
Okay, let's
Gaylord
wrap it up.
Perry.
Let's wrap it up.
I'm sorry, I'm so into this
Nikki
number
Diamonds
28.
is talking in our ear here.
He's saying to hurry up. Adrian Gonzalez. We'll wrap it up with that one. News dope. What else happened here? We got a trailer for Death of a Unicorn. It's like that mixed comedy where it looks like it's going to be funny, but they're going to play with some other elements. This is an A24 film starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. They kill a unicorn. They realize that the horn is the cure for cancer, but then the mother of the unicorn that is killed is out for vengeance.
I don't know. I don't know how it came to be, Goo, but this is really up my alley. This weird intersection of a unicorn with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega.
Who is the other actor that's in it as well?
Style.
Who's the other actor in it? Because he's hilarious in the trailer, and I'm blanking on his name. He
Yeah.
plays Adam Warlock in the Guardians movies. He was
Yeah.
in We Are the Millers.
Yeah, I forget his name.
I forget his name as well.
Will something. Will Poulter.
Will Poulter. He's really funny in the trailer. I think he's going to
Yep.
play a big role in this movie as well. He's going to get killed by the unicorn, by the way. He's going to get stabbed real, real bad.
I'm really looking forward to this movie.
News up. Also got a trailer for Black Bag.
Yeah, this is I don't think you're as big of a Soderbergh guy as I am. Steven Soderbergh is one of my favorite directors, maybe top like 4 or 5. And this movie will be starring Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett as married spies. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but better, maybe. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming out, I think, fall or spring of 2025. And I don't know, anytime you get Soderbergh involved in like a heist thriller type thing, he's great.
News dip. And finally, Anora is now available on digital.
Yeah, again, apparently one of the best movies of the year. Mikey Madison, I think, is the odds-on favorite to win Best Actress at the moment from this movie. So this is one that if you're looking for something to watch, I believe you can rent it digitally now. So I will be doing that within the next week or two. Maybe that's our next episode if we can't come up with something.
News dip. We'll see. I think I would like to see Sonic over the weekend, but I can't guarantee that I can.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Anora, we can watch at home.
Can we?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay $20 for it, but that's less than you'd pay to go see Sonic with Raffi in the theater.
Do that. Or if any big news comes out, we could double dump.
Could
How
do
about
that. Could do that.
We need something for Monday. Then we have a big holiday break in the middle. We're both going to the North Pole to help Santa.
Santa Claus.
Oh, did you see, not to spend too much time on this, but Keefe and Jones on the WEEI network had their ranking of Christmas movies, and they put Jingle All the Way in the bottom tier.
It's an okay movie.
I saw
not in the bottom tier.
No,
I'd say
I saw
middle.
Jingle All the Way when it was in theaters with my father during the 1995 or 6, whenever it came out,
So
Christmas break.
Yeah, I think the age gap there, even though they're 5 years older than us, not much. So we were like 6, 7, 8 seeing it, and they were teenagers. So I think that's the difference there.
But what I appreciate, though, is that when we were putting up my Christmas tree at my mother's house, my brother put it on, and my father was acting like he had never seen the movie before. And I'm like, you took us to see this movie, and he was having a blast. He was loving every minute of it. Sinbad, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There's probably a lot of parents
Jim
with a similar
Belushi.
story where they went to the movies and just fell asleep as their kids.
My father absolutely fell asleep. He fell asleep during that and the live-action Mr. Magoo movie starring Leslie Nielsen, where he mistook an orangutan for a person.
Classic.
Right, because he's blind. And
Yeah.
that's the humor of Mr. Magoo.
That's the whole thing. Yeah.
That's the whole thing with Mr. Magoo. My father sometimes now, he'll tell me stories that I've never heard before that are completely out of left field. And I'm like, where have you been keeping these? Like, he told me that his first date with my mother, he accidentally took her to a Frankenstein porno.
That doesn't seem accidental by any means.
No, it was a double date. It was him and his buddy Lester.
Classic Lester.
His buddy Lester was making out the whole time. And then
little hanky panky from old Lesty.
Right, but it was a Frankenstein adult movie.
He was French kissing the whole time.
And I'm like, this sounds made up. My mother's like, no, he did. That was real. Like, why am I just hearing about this now? Where is this?
I miss the days because we missed them of going to like a non-chain video store
Yeah.
and watching the middle-aged men go into the back room that had beads draping over the
Yeah.
doorway that you had to be 18 plus to get to. I wish I want to be one of those guys these days walking through those beads.
Well, we saw the someone tweeted out. It was a joke though, like that at a Secret Santa or Yankee Swap, there was a $500 gift card to Pornhub, and I
50.
pointed out that if there was one of those, it was a Yankee Swap, and say you were at the back end, you would so confidently be like, "I'm going to take that Pornhub gift
Yeah,
card. Thank
that's
you."
gonna be mine. Yeah, I'll
Right.
take that.
And
Thank
then
you.
someone after you would jokingly take it, be like, "I guess I'll take the Pornhub gift card," and then you would get pissed. They'd be like, "Oh, well, what are you even gonna watch? What are you into?" And then once they like
We don't
fumble
ask
around with some
these questions
categories,
around here.
no,
This
but
is a
then
judgment-free zone.
when they start to fumble around with the categories, you're like, "You never even fucking been to Pornhub. This guy sucks. Don't give him the goddamn gift card.
Do you even watch porn, bro?
You just looking to get into it
I don't
now?"
even watch porn. I watch porn.
I know all about porn. I can tell you every website. I can tell you every category. I can tell you every video.
Here's a question for you and maybe
Yes.
the listeners, if they want to answer it, no pressure. When you are sorting your videos, what do you sort by? What's your main thing you're sorting by? You have looked up whatever you looked up, and then what do you sort by?
You got to go recent date, right?
Like last 3 months, and then I'm a big length guy. I like getting into the story a little bit. I need like 20 minutes plus. I did a build up, I need
I
some.
wasn't sure what you meant by length at first.
I search by cock size.
Right. I need it to be a very specific one so I don't feel like I'm
Yeah, I gotta
I
feel like I'm in the movie.
right. I need to be able to relate to the gentleman
So that
involved.
it's very few movies I can actually watch.
All right. That'll be the end of this news dump. Check us out at the top of next week. News dump.